Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Inside Lion Athletics. We're a little bit chopped up again here. The men are up in Stores, Connecticut, ready to take on UConn. We get to open things up. Avi's going to take care of everybody down in Texas after this. Joined now, head coach Jaret von Rosenberg, of course, Hartford, Connecticut. In this area, you're no stranger to it.
Yeah, me and my wife met here, went to the University of Hartford, right down the road. So been around this area. We actually got weather. We actually got good weather for this trip, so we're not dealing with snow or anything cold. So excited for the opportunity, excited to be up here.
Coach, UConn, they somehow got Arlington Baptist to give up a game tomorrow night, and we're up here instead.
Yeah, this was a late game added on the schedule. It's a little bit different opponent than we initially thought, but like we told our guys, everything is building toward December 5th and 7th, and then obviously January when we really get into Southland Conference play. So got to play well. They're not number one in the country on the polls. They just jumped to number 2, but it's going to be really challenging. We're going to play in front of 12,000 people. Hopefully we can continue to grow as a basketball team.
Well, the returnees and most of your staff were in Lexington, Kentucky a year ago when you took on the Wildcats there. How much of that carries over to this in the preparation for just the atmosphere of the game?
Well, going to A&M and Iowa were great atmospheres for us to get ready. This is a whole new team, so it's really important. I told our guys I think we'll play our best game tomorrow from the standpoint of being able to execute on both sides of the basketball and 5 guys working together to get things done. And if we continue to do that, we're seeing better and better film. You got to stop worrying about the opponent necessarily on the scoreboard. And you've heard me say it a million times, what quality type of shot are we giving up and what type of shot are we getting? And that's how we want to live, and that's how we want to think about how we're executing on both sides of the ball.
How much easier is it to come into this trip, this game, after that great win at home against Southern the other night? Pick up your first dub.
Yeah, it takes a lot of pressure off. Not only I saw a stat, we won 13 home openers in a row. I didn't know that going into the game, but it was just good for our guys. They put a lot of work in. This schedule is very daunting. Not only the level of opponent we're playing, but we're playing on the road, and it's hard to win on the road in college basketball. So when we did get our home opportunity, we really needed to take advantage of it, and we did. So really good job by them. Hopefully we'll get some more.
Turnovers is something that y'all been trying to reduce every single game. Maybe not. You didn't get quite as few.
To no avail.
To no avail. They had worked.
Yeah, no, it's
good.
Yeah, it's got to be one of our biggest focuses. It has been in practice, and it's going to be continued going forward. You don't give yourself a chance when you turn the basketball over. Especially we've had a lot of live ball variety where we're giving up numbers in transition, and it just puts so much pressure on our defense. So got to take care of the basketball. We've got to get more shots than our opponent. That's how we've been successful in Division I era. So hopefully we move in the right direction tomorrow.
Coach, a game like this, it is more about the opportunity than it being a crucial key contest that has an impact on the rest of the season. The guys at Kentucky, they came out, hit a bunch of threes to start the game, just played loose. If they play loose,
yeah, exactly. That's what we'll do. There's no pressure on us at all. All the pressure's squarely on UConn. But our guys still want to see success, and we can't deviate from. We've played some of these games. You play, and you're really successful for 30 minutes of that 40-minute game. You do a lot of good things. We have to understand when we do things that don't work, and we know they don't work. They've seen it on film. We talked about it in practice. We do things that don't work, and you compound mistakes. That's when a team like UConn or any team with that talent at home in that environment, they can jump on you in a hurry. So trying to be disciplined in our shot selection, take care of the basketball, rebound every time a shot goes up. Those things we can control, at least the effort and the intention to do that, and we have to try to do that every possession.
All right, Coach. Well, every possession is starting tomorrow evening, 6 o'clock Central Time, 7 o'clock if you're up here with us. Go Lions, and we'll see you on the radio.
And welcome back to the Inside Lion Athletics podcast. We're back here in Commerce, and we're joined by volleyball head coach Joe Morales, fresh off a win against New Orleans, and that win signified postseason once again for the Lions, 13 straight years.
Yeah, that was a good win for us. I think we played well. I think we played well on Thursday, but I think we played well on Saturday too, and that was a big win for us. And the girls, they felt They played loose. They played free, and we got to see a lot of bodies in there and do some things, and then finish strong with the lineups and the seniors too. It was a good day for them as well. So
yeah, we'll touch on who you're playing in the first round of the postseason and recap that Thursday match too. But speaking more on that New Orleans win, obviously senior day, there's always emotions with senior day. What did you say about the team that, they're a team that came in at their last game of the season? Really, there was no doubt. Like, they came out firing, really started the match and left no doubt.
Yeah, I think they won it. They know what's at stake. I think for especially the seniors and the upperclassmen, and we have a lot of our team that hasn't been to a conference tournament too, so they really want that as well. And so they're all bought in, and it was great. And moving into that Saturday morning game, like, it was, they came out firing, and I was proud of them. I like the way we worked. We got to put in a lot of people in there, but towards the end, we filtered back with the seniors, and some kids went in and then they came out right away because of the seniors, and they knew why and the reason for it, and they're all bought in about that, and they love that. So it was a good atmosphere for us.
Yeah, and then let's look ahead to now Friday night.
Yeah.
You were into the conference tournament as the 8th seed, tied for 7th overall. So just speak on a little bit there, tied for 7th. You were picked to finish 10th, missed the tournament, but you're not only making the tournament, you've tied for 7th too, and that speaks volume to the team too, right?
Right. Yeah. We talk about that a lot, as I'm pretty transparent with the team, and I think it's especially how the conference got a little bit stronger with SFA and UTRGV, and us being in that position. It speaks a lot of volumes of how much this team has improved and gotten better. And we're not done yet. They're looking forward to Friday. They're looking forward to moving on, and we believe we can do it. I mean, they're a tough team. There's no doubt about it. They're not going to get. It's not going to be an easy fight, but nevertheless, it's going to be a fight. So we're gonna, go out there with the firing, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, headed to Hammond, Louisiana, take on Southeastern team that has won now 24 in a row. But you just saw them on Thursday, and it was an impressive matchup for these Texas A&M Lions. Took a set off them, had a chance to take even a second set there and extend that match. And so you have to feel pretty confident, as does the team, going into that match on Friday.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of scouting and going back on that game, and we dropped a couple points here and there in the first set, but even the second set we had a chance to win it. The third set we outright won it, and then it was a battle in the fourth set, and we had a chance there. And we know the mistakes that took place at that point, so we're going to clean up that a little bit and look to we love to take it to a 5-setter if we can, with the number one team. And like I said, our team feels really confident. We're ready to roll. There's no pressure on us. It's just more about what can we continue to do as a team.
Going back to that Thursday match against Southeastern right here in the Fieldhouse, what was something that clicked in that second set? The first set, Southeastern was kind of able to control the match a little bit, and then the second set was really the second and third set.
Right.
You guys were controlling the match, and then they came back in the fourth.
Yeah, I think we did a little bit better job of serving tough at them. They're not a great passing team. They're a great offensive team. So we try to take that out of them a little bit, which we've been working all week with different types of serves. And I think we started doing that because a lot of times that we made runs was with our serving, and so we're gonna continue to put the pressure on that. And then I think we talked about a little bit touches at the net, knowing that they have two lefties out there that are pretty good, and then you have CeCe out there who's a great player. So we're really trying to just take touches at the net to allow our defense to work a little bit more. And I think that's a big strength for us is our defense. Once we get some digs into transition, that's going to, allow us to do what we want to do with the ball. And so those are our main keys right there, and I think we did a great job of that, and now we just got to extend that a little bit going into Friday.
Yeah, we'll have the all-conference honorees coming out later this week, but one person that I think is probably a slam dunk is Jade Smith, averaging over 5 digs a set. Not only leading the conference, but I looked it up last night, top 5 in the country currently.
Wow. I think that kid is deserving of it. And, we always go into these conference ballots and you never know what's going to happen. But I think she's deserving of a all-conference. And I would say, just in my opinion, I think she's a libero, a candidate for Libero of the Year too. And that shouldn't make a difference of the place that we're in. I think it's the player and the stats, but that's going to be left up to the conference schools, and we'll see what happens. But that kid has played lights out, and there's no doubt about it. Where, I trust her in the back row a lot, and that's going to be she's a senior, so I'm a little sad about that. That's a tough one to lose. But we're excited that we had her for 2 years, and she's going to keep on going. She wants to win. She has such a competitive spirit. And, going into last year, we were in this time frame last year, and, of course, she was fighting for that top position and then kind of went down a little bit. And she worked throughout the year and the summer and to come back to where she needed to be for this libero. And so she's fighting for that. And so, we're lucky that she's wearing East Texas jersey. So, absolutely, we're excited.
Well, Coach, good luck on Friday night. We hope that you play Saturday and Sunday as well and bring home another title back to Commerce.
Yes, sir. That's what we plan to do. Absolutely.
Well, that's Line Volleyball Coach Joe Morales off to the Southland Conference Tournament in Hammond. We'll be right back on the Inside Line Athletics Podcast with more.
Go Lions.
And welcome back to the Inside Line Athletics Podcast. We're now joined by Director of Athletics Jim Curry on a busy week. That's why we're doing this a little early. Because both me and you both have got to hit the road tomorrow morning.
That's right, yeah. Even though the home slate's starting to kind of come to a little bit of a turn, it's not completely over yet. We had to go a little early this week.
Yeah.
So it's good, though. We've got women's hoops tonight. So we just came off 5 games in, 6 days, I think? Yeah, 5 home games in 6 days last week. Culminating with a pretty good weekend, of course, 2-0 Saturday with volleyball and football. And then we got women's hoops tonight. So their last home non-conference date before we get into conference play. And then we'll hit the road tomorrow for a pretty big one. National TV broadcast for men's hoops, obviously, against UConn. And then they follow that up with obviously the Oklahoma game. So we'll be at Oklahoma on Thursday, and then volleyball Friday. So I'm going to see if I can try to hit that too, if I can. But with everything going on, it may be a little bit challenging. But again, probably I think you talked to Joe a little bit earlier, but I think important to acknowledge what they've been able to do this year in a much deeper conference than was last year, and so being able to make the tournament this year, which I know is a goal for theirs. So they're a much improved team. We're starting to see it. Obviously, they battled Southeastern pretty well last week as well, and so looking forward to seeing that one. And then we get to Saturday, and I think we'll see some stuff come out later today about this for Saturday against UIW in football. Last game of the year. Trying to ride a little bit of that East Texas magic still that's out there. So we're going to kind of turn that into a celebration of East Texas. 903 tickets, 903 parking, free tickets for youth. Just kind of get some folks out and give us one last hurrah out the gate. Playing the conference champion.
Yeah.
Right? The conference champion. They won.
And number 6 team in the country.
Number 6 team in the country. Yeah, thanks. We'll need everybody out there. So we're making a push there. So if you've got Saturday at 1 o'clock available, then come on out. Right now, the forecast looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I guess we said that last week, too, and it got a little cloudy. And
I woke up. I was expecting 75 and sunny, as we said on Friday, and I woke up, and it was gloomy. I'm like, and I needed a jacket. I'm like,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
The forecast never changed all week, and it just said sunny and 70, right? So,
yeah, I think the sun came out when that last couple of field goals didn't go in. The sun was out for that brief window there.
Hey, the sun shines on Commerce, right?
Exactly.
Right when we need it to. So, no, that's perfect. But yeah, so a big push there. And then at the same time, too, beginning tonight with the women's game and then getting into Saturday with football and then looking ahead to our next home contest, which will be the Saturday after Thanksgiving men's basketball toy drive. So working with our local community, our student-athlete advisory committee, doing a toy drive. So if you bring a toy to the game, we're going to make sure it gets to the Little Angels Initiative here in Commerce and keep those toys here in Commerce, but we'll get a free ticket for you to come to the game on the 30th of November. So excited to partner with them and our student-athletes in that initiative as well.
Yeah, touching on that toy drive a little bit, really an opportunity for the Student-Athlete Advisory Committee to engage with the community, engage with the fans that want to come and support at the games.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think what's really cool about that, too, is there's a lot of great initiatives out there, but this one directly impacts and benefits our local community here in Commerce. And so that one really spoke to us. I hope everybody can kind of see that through what we've been trying to do, whether that's community-based initiatives, engagement, being part of the Boat Arc Bash, this Little Angels initiatives, bringing home games to Commerce like we did with Oklahoma, having the most number of home games last year. It's important for us to drive positive activity here to Commerce and our local community here in Hunt County and Northeast Texas. And so that's what's I think that's what's kind of so cool about this initiative is that it's not only is it going to help kids in need, but it's going to help kids in need here directly in Hunt County.
And then starting tonight against UT Arlington, a team, that local DFW team, coming and playing in basketball for the first time in Commerce. You know, we've had them come here in off-season volleyball and a softball game, but the first time we get a local DFW team coming into the field house, and that's a pretty special moment for Coach Val and her squad. And obviously both teams looking for their first win over a Division I opponent. Lions have to like their chances at home.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you mentioning that, and you're right. I mean, we continue to see the growth and how the transition into Division I continues to provide new opportunities for our programs and our community. And you're right. Glad you called attention to that, the fact that we've got UTA coming in here. So, yeah, should be a good night. I think we're ready, and I'm sure UTA is ready. But we'll need everybody in the field house tonight. But, yeah, you know, I think kind of looking back to Thursday night with Baylor, I had an opportunity to drive down there and watch the women play. And, you know, you look at the score and you're like, oh, yeah, that thing was you know, out of hand. If you watch the game, it was a totally different game. Obviously, Baylor's length and athleticism and skill is top level. There's a reason they're the 17th ranked team in the country. But the things that we were doing and the things that would be successful for us as we get into conference play teams like UTA, get on the road here to finish out the non-conference slate, they will definitely help us. And there were a lot of positives there. So I know talking to Coach Val after the game, she was really happy with the effort overall. Cora had 22. I mean, we were kind of sitting, the students were sitting behind us. And, you know, they kind of, at some point, just the tenor of it turned when Cora had the ball. And they were like, Coach, you're not playing her enough. Well, what they don't know is that she plays a lot.
Correct.
She's an important piece for the team. But I think they also recognized how skilled she is. And, again, you know, we've got other really complementary pieces. So I'm really excited for tonight's game against UTA to kind of see where we are right now relative to other non-conference opponents outside the P4.
And then men's basketball tomorrow, taking on a pretty big opponent that everyone's heard of in UConn, two-time defending national champion, national TV game. Couldn't ask for a bigger exposure moment for the athletic department as a whole than what will happen tomorrow night at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, agreed. You know, we had that opportunity early in the year with San Diego State, national TV, week 1 in prime time. Well, again, following up here with, you know, two-time defending national champion in UConn. Appreciative for them. Putting us on the schedule, giving us the opportunity. Again, national TV, linear broadcast, so everybody should be able to catch it at home. Again, great opportunity to showcase the brand and now also the new name the new name with ET. So, you know, again, we're going to continue to ride that ET magic, see what we can do this week with that one as well.
And then speaking of ET, the Lion football team, 2-0 as the ET Lions instead of the other name that we won't talk about anymore. But, you know, another great performance for the Lions at home. You know, they've dealt with some adversity, falling behind in that third quarter, but bounced back once again.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think it just kind of personifies a little bit of the toughness that we knew that team had. And so, you know, tip of the cap. I mean, you know, you look back a couple weeks when we were at McNeese, you know, obviously we didn't have the type of game that we wanted. I think a lot of folks are disappointed across the board in that performance, but credit to the kids and the coaches for staying with it, being tough, being resilient, and bouncing back. And, you know, again, last week with SFA, or the week before, this past weekend with UIW, you know, again, you look at the stat sheet too, and I think in both games you kind of see where we did some things really well. I mean, it's not very often you're going to win a football game when you give up a special teams touchdown and a defensive touchdown as well. And for our guys to have the resilience, particularly after that return touchdown, right? We had just scored. We had kind of made it a one-score game. They returned the kick, and it almost like it could have just gone bad from there, and it didn't. And, again, that's just a credit to the coaches and our student-athletes for being tough, being resilient, and staying with it and getting after it. So, you know, HCU is a much improved team. It's obvious. You know, they've got some playmakers. The wide receiver is really skilled, obviously. and they've got other players as well, but he stands out. They had the NFL draft pick last year on the edge for them on the defensive line. So, again, that's not the same old Houston Christian team that we've seen in, a decade ago or last decade. That's a much improved program. So that's a good win for us. And I think that gets our third Division I win of the year.
Yep.
And which I think
ties
the most.
Ties the 22, which was also against Houston Christian in that first year when we beat McNeese Southeastern Houston Christian.
That's right. Yep. So, excited to kind of continue to raise the bar a little bit there. But, again, we got a lot of work to do there still. But, again, important to acknowledge the resilience of that team and what they've done. So, yeah, I mean, the crazy coincidence, too. You mentioned E.T., right? So we kind of put this together last week.
I was just going to touch on that. It came late Friday, so you might have missed it. But, you have a chance to own a piece of line football history.
Own a piece of history, that's right. So late Friday afternoon, we had gotten such an interest in those helmets, the gold helmets, that we were making them available. And, it only seemed appropriate that the right price would be $903 for them. Now, mind you, that $903 also includes the cost to replace that helmet in the team inventory, and those things, cost anywhere from $400 to $500 depending on the helmet style. So, but all that money gets back into the football program. But we felt like we needed to make that opportunity available to folks because there was so much interest. And another kind of fun fact, coincidence here with this ET stuff. We were talking about it last week at the end of the week. Our first year of football as East Texas was 1914.
Yep.
And our first game as East Texas A&M, the final score was
1914.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the universe kind of saying it all kind of comes together, right? So that's kind of cool. But, again, credit to those guys just for staying tough, staying resilient. What I also kind of liked about the last 2 weeks, too, is that really leaned heavily on the defense 2 weeks ago against SFA. Offense showed really well, obviously, this past week. So, we've been able to kind of lean in both directions now to get wins and win different types of ways, which is important because, it's important to as you're kind of growing and progressing as a program that you got to learn how to win games in multiple different types of ways, and we've been able to do that the last 2 weeks. So, again, tip of the cap to the student-athletes and our coaches.
Well, what else you got? You got a list over there. Anything we didn't touch on yet so far?
I think that's everything right now. It's still it's still, as we called it, Sportsacopia a couple weeks ago, right?
Exactly. Still going.
I would say maybe the home portion of Sportsacopia is dwindling down, but the action certainly doesn't stop. So we'll stay busy again this week. We'll look ahead to next week with being on the road, Stonehill, and then a big basketball matchup. So, again, as you're planning out your Thanksgiving calendar and weekend, that's Saturday – men's basketball in the field house with Fort Wayne. Yeah. That Fort Wayne team is a good team.
It is a really good team.
So we're going to need everybody there for that one. And again, so we'll get into December. But again, it's coming to a close here soon. So if you want a little bit of action here with football, basketball, again, women tonight, football this weekend. Those are the last two opportunities at home until at least in the non-conference slate for the women, and then the men. They've got 3 more this semester, but that big one on the 30th as well.
Yeah, Purdue Fort Wayne, a top 115 program in the country currently in all the rankings, and so really big, probably the biggest game opponent we've hosted here in a long time.
Oh, in terms of quality, for sure.
It's
posted in the field house, the quality of the opponent, they're going to be as good as anybody we've brought in here. Certainly, maybe ever, but at least certainly within the D1 era, for sure.
Well, that's Director of Athletics Jim Curry. Thank you so much for stopping by. We'll see you along the road and see you back here next week.
Thanks for filling in for Charlie. We'll bust his chops, and again, if maybe you've unseated him. No, we want to see Charlie.
Yeah, we want to see Charlie.
No, we'll see Charlie again, but we'll see him up at Stores.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Go Lions. And welcome back to the Inside Line Athletics podcast. We're now joined by women's basketball head coach Valerie King. Coach, big win tonight against UT Arlington, coming off a tough loss against Baylor, but another huge win against Laterno as well.
Yeah, last week was, a learning week for us on both ends, learning how to play 40 minutes, regardless of the outcome. So, and I think we got that point across, and a lot of learning lessons taken from Thursday night.
And then, so far you played 2 non-Division I opponents and then 2 power conference opponents. Starting tonight, you have really a stretch of games where teams are, I don't want to say at our level, but similar level conferences, and so really be able to see the team, how they match up against level competition.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think the next few weeks are vital for us. We're going to learn a lot about ourselves, a lot about how we can really play throughout the year, and where we're going to stack up.
Tonight, you play a UT Arlington team, a stat that I don't think you would like to hear, but after this one, a 45-stretch day away from home, that's the third longest in Division I that you're about to enter into after this one tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we're happy to be home and playing a home game tonight, but it flips on the other side. So we'll be on the road for a while, and like you said, we won't be back until after the first of the year.
For conference play when you start against Nichols. Talking about UT Arlington team, similar position as the Lions, where played some power conference opponents, played some non-division opponents. Both teams haven't really played that level team than they played tonight. It's really searching for that first quality win on both sides.
Right, yeah. I mean, UT Arlington is a really, really good team. They play super fast, really want to get the ball up and down the floor. Probably the fastest team we played, even Arkansas or Baylor. Defensive transition is going to be a huge factor for us tonight, getting back, playing them 5-on-5. We've had 2 really good days of prep, and had a third day of shoot around. So, we're ready to go tonight.
Looking back to that Baylor game, Cora Horvath leading the team and scoring at 22. She's been a leading scorer both at Baylor and Arkansas in those power conference teams. Has that just the level of competition really fueled her?
I think Cora's just, ready to play. She had a good summer at home overseas, competing internationally. When she gets to go home and get all that experience, I think it sets her up for success. And I think, last year as a freshman, she kind of just, waded her way through and tried to find her spots and what she could help us with. But I think she's much more comfortable this year with what she can do.
No, we've seen it in some other sports here, especially with soccer, with having the twins. How important is having that twin sister that pushes you as well, not just your coaches, your teammates, but your sister too?
Yeah, I mean, they push each other, it's good. Sometimes it's comical to, see their interactions and stuff. But, Cora's good for Nina, and Nina's really good for Cora.
And then after tonight's game against UT Arlington, you go over to Houston and take on a Texas Southern team, picked towards the top of the SWAC, a really good team in the SWAC. What have you seen so far from them?
I've just kind of gotten started on watching some film. My main focus has been on UTA. But, again, another team that wants to play in transition. Again, defensive transition is a huge thing for us right now.
And then, with the results that have been so far, you've been really able to play everybody that's healthy so far. And so I'm sure that's helped you to get some real-life game experience for basically everybody that's healthy on your team.
Yeah, it's been good. Jayanti was out last week at Baylor. She'll be out again tonight. But everybody else has been healthy and, full go. So really important for us to get the non-starters more minutes, trying to see where we can push people, where we can plug them in when we need, minutes plugged in, and we'll hopefully have JNT back for Thursday.
Well, Coach, I know you got a game to get ready for. Thank you so much for stopping by. We'll see you there tonight.
All right. Thanks, Avi.
Go Lions. And welcome back to the Inside Line Athletics podcast, final segment of today, and we're joined by head football coach Clint Dolezel. Coach, 2-0 as East Texas.
Yeah. It was another good quality win, different type of game, where we were could have pulled away, honestly, in the first half and had some things not go our way in there. You throw a ball and it bounced off somebody's helmet for a pick where we could have went up, and they've showed on film in the past of getting down and kind of laying down, but we couldn't put the dagger in them early, and then they took advantage of it in the second half, hit a couple bombs on us, and we held in there and, basically went to nothing but pass and, had success. Rhonda had a good day. I think he had some 40-something completions. Yeah. So, I think he was all conferences South and all conference.
Yeah, conference player of the week today.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Ron Peace, just his performance, but it kind of turned into an offensive shootout there in the second half, and he really stood on his own and was able to drive the lines. Even that late 4th and 14 play, he was able to find the receiver there.
Yep, we made some adjustments during that. Obviously, we're struggling moving the ball, especially starting out the third quarter. We just couldn't get anything going, and normally once we get a first down, we usually roll pretty good, but we just couldn't get that first down on our first couple drives, and then we changed our strategy up and just started airing it out a little bit and picked them apart. Ron did a great job. Even the success we didn't have in a couple drives in there, it was self-inflicted. But, threw some really good balls, and then the game-winning drive, like you said, 4th and 14, we called a timeout and, kind of drew up a play that we have, but in case they did this, we changed this, and we did. We ended up throwing a glance where we normally have an out there, and him and Christian, who had a huge game as well, made a big play for us, and we were able to drive down and get that game-winning score.
And then defensively, obviously, those couple of big plays in the third quarter where Wilson just broke away. But, really, shut out for the second game in a row. No points allowed in the fourth quarter, and allowed the offense to get back in the game.
That's our style. They're going to hit some of those, and we haven't given up many big bombs. We put a lot of pressure on our DBs to play man-to-man out there and try to create some blitz pickup with the run and pass with bringing some heat. And like I said, they hit 3 bombs, and it wasn't like they were wide open. They threw good balls, and they caught, big plays, and were able to get some big scores against us. But like you said, we stepped up, shut them down in the fourth quarter, and gave us a chance to make a comeback.
And then special teams blocking that kick. I think that really played a factor late where, Fedor came into the game not having missed a kick all year and essentially missed 3 with that one that got called back.
Yeah, it was huge. I think the very first one they tried, we got in there and blocked that one. Again, it was a little bit, honestly, kicking back in the wind. All 3 of those were. He doesn't have a super strong leg, but it was very accurate, and we were just out of his range, I think. And he had to drive the ball, and obviously we blocked it. One. Keys came up the middle and got a good block there, and changed momentum. Anytime you have a big special teams player, any kind of turnover, it's good momentum play, and we took advantage of a lot of that.
Now, looking ahead to a team this weekend in UIW, ranked 6th in the country, already clinched a conference, but still got a little bit to play for in a first-round bye for them. Yeah,
I think they're ranked number 4 right now, and they're obviously playing for seeding for sure, so we know we're going to get their best. They're a good football team. We watch it, though, and, we're in prep right now, trying to, find up a game plan for them, and they've got some holes. We just got to take advantage of it. They've got a good mix of pass rush along with some good cover guys on the defensive side, and they can put some points up. I know they're leading the conference in scoring, so it'll be a test for us. But it's a game that we can step up into and make a big challenge for us and get a win.
Last year they were a top 10 team when we went down to San Antonio. Yep. We were really a pick 6 away from driving down to win the ball. How much have they improved, or what have you seen difference between that team and this team, the team that we played really well last year?
Yeah, we're both different teams, to be honest with you. They're a lot better than they were last year overall, I think. I don't think their defense is quite as solid as it was last year, but they're very well coached. They're sound in everything they do. They let you beat yourself a lot of times. They're just comfortable enough in their own skin to just wait you out. Things might not go their way early in the game, but second half, I bet you they put up a bunch of points, watching their films where they just kind of let you beat yourself in the first half. In the second half, they wipe you clean off.
Also, senior day for the Lions. This senior group is one of the ones that you inherited, especially on the defensive side. They've kind of been the team leaders. It'll be a pretty emotional day on Saturday.
It will be. A bunch of great kids leaving us. Hate to lose those guys, and grown really attached to our defensive group. And, we're definitely going to miss them. That's a big group we're losing. One of the key success of us being in any ball games we've been in the last 2 years has been that group of guys. So, we're going to miss them.
And then how special was it to see Max Steps? I know a couple of times he's got the interception, just not been able to get it, but finally able to find the end zone today on Saturday.
Yeah, no, it was great to see. Last year he had several of those picks, and just somehow one guy tripped him up or got him, from the side. When he caught it, I was like, oh, let's get there this time, and he left them all. It's just credit to him. He hadn't had as many picks this year because they've been thrown away from him. He had an unbelievable game in tackles as well, and the big pick 6 was huge for us.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for stopping by. I know you got to get ready for UIW, so good luck this weekend. We'll see you next week.
Appreciate it.
Go Lions.
Go Lions.
That does it for this week's Inside Line Athletics podcast. We'll be back to our normal schedule next week.